Hi everyone, welcome back to Piet and Grada's Tuesday's talk. And every Tuesday we talk about a health topic, something that we see in the clinic. And this week we want to dedicate our talk to children, because did you know that children are really struggling a lot with their nutrition, and they have way more health challenges than ever before, don't they, Pete?
Yeah,
we
certainly
see
do.
Like teenagers with high blood pressure and lots of kids that are pre-diabetic. Anyway, so recently I had a little boy and we just call him Johnny. He was 7 years old, and his mom took him to me because we were recommended by the school or some of the teachers. And Johnny was 7, very disruptive in the classroom, and at home he was always talking back and also being destructive, and she couldn't leave him alone with his siblings because he would hurt his siblings. And so he had a lot of problems, and they thought it was his personality. So when I started treating Johnny, I realized that it wasn't a psychological problem, just that his body was full of toxins, especially his tummy had a lot of candida and bacteria and probably parasites as well. And that created toxins that then go into the bloodstream, that goes into the brain. And then his diet wasn't very good either, even though his the parents thought he had a good diet. It wasn't good. It had a lot of processed foods as well. So he was very disrupted by the diet that he was on, and that created all the behaviors. So before I forget, because sometimes I forget to share the good ending. In a minute we'll tell you how it panned out, what we did. But when he came back a month later, he was a new boy, so he was completely changed, and the school was also very happy with him, and he lost all the labels of being a disruptive child.
The brain begins its development when the baby is in utero, so the mother needs to have good nutrition during the development stage during pregnancy.
I would even say, if you're planning to have a baby, that both mom and dad really ramp up their nutrition already.
Or 6 months before
minimum
to get really
healthy
themselves. Yeah. And the father needs it for good healthy sperm as well.
Exactly.
And there are things affecting children's health. There's genetics, there's as I said before, dietary nutrition lacks. Then there's anti-nutrients which are in the foods that we eat these days. All the processed foods they are breaking down the nutrients that are in there for people to get. So
in a bad way. So
in a bad way. And there's lots of the bad oils in processed foods which create a lot of havoc in health.
What are bad oils for people that are new to us? They don't know.
All the vegetable seed-based oils, and even fish oil oxidizes and creates free radical damage to our cells. And so but there's a lot of additives to foods. All the numbers you see on the ingredient list are not very good for us. So there's a lot of toxins.
They trigger the brain as well. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then there's also how the child interacts with his peers and other people, and how the parents bring up their children affects the state of the child. We brought up our children similar to what our parents brought us up as.
No, I didn't.
Well, there were attributes of it. You can't help it. It's just...
I try to be very different.
Well, we try to be different, but there's... when we get stressed, we often work from what we were taught between 0 and 6. Our brain flips back to it. But in our food source, or the nutrition side of things, in our water there's fluoride, chloride, which block the receptor sites for iodine, which is crucial for brain development.
Yeah, that's true.
And in the Tasmanian government health website, it says that every person in Tasmania should supplement with iodine. And it's very important for brain development
Top priority.
of children. And brains keep developing until 25, is it?
Well, at least till, all your life. But the first, between conception and year 8, so the first 8 years, determine how the rest of your life is going to look. That's really the foundation of your life. And then after that, of course, the brain, you have plasticity, so the brain can recover and regrow. And we found with our kids, which is, I think it's anyway in book knowledge, but we found that when they were 26, suddenly the adult has landed in the adult body, so that's a different topic though, right? By the time it takes us probably the first 26 years to really become the person that you're meant to be.
Plus, fluoride also calcifies the pineal gland, and that's our connection to our higher self or source.
Intuition.
Yeah, our intuition. So we lack the ability, if that calcifies, we start to lack the ability to know what's right and wrong even.
So apparently by these days, by the time the child is 12, the pineal gland is shriveled up to the size of a pea, and it stays that small size all during the rest of our life, unless we take measures that Pete and I can tell you what to do to help you recover from that. And that cuts off our direct line to our intuition, so we end up more confused. We can be told lies and we can be brainwashed easier without our pineal gland. Not only that, we don't sleep well. So Johnie, he wasn't sleeping well, so he was really suffering from lots and lots of challenges. And then his behavior was terrible, but it wasn't his fault at all. That his behavior was basically just a cry for help.
Yeah.
And by the way, as I said, he fully recovered. And we have many stories like that, hundreds of stories of children who just absolutely became a new person, but it's actually not the new, it's the real person that you get to see.
I had a couple bring a child to me who was also similar to Johnie. Teachers were saying he needed to go on Ritalin, ADHD drugs. He was disrupting the class so much. And I recommended they swap sugars out for fats in the diet, because that's the brain requires lots of good fats, and it gives a much better energy source for the brain, and give him a probiotic. And it was only 3 weeks later they had a perfect child. It was amazing, the difference.
People ring us up all the time. Sometimes they're crying because they're so happy, with the changes that they see in their child. So sugar makes your child energy levels swing like crazy, so like it spikes up and then sharp spike and then down again. So sugars are also pizza, pasta, rice, potatoes, bread and so on.
All the high starch carbohydrates.
Fruit, bananas.
All flour products.
So we're not just talking about processed foods and extra sugar and lollies, let alone or syrups or fruit juices. Really, as a parent, you just really need to watch and avoid all of that. Avoid all those aisles in the supermarket shelf. Even fruit is also disruptive to children, and they're better off really giving your child a sausage or something rather than a banana, because at least it's got good fat, good meat fats and proteins that calms the child down.
And all the sugary things, they displace the magnesium in the body, which is the essential mineral to calm the child down. And one of our grandchildren, our son, used to have to give him about 1.5 teaspoonfuls of magnesium powder to get him to sleep at night.
When he was only like that.
And that would give any adult diarrhea nearly, but it didn't give him. But cutting out sugars, changing your sugars to good fats, good oils,
cream
for energy, that will make a lot of difference.
That's true. Some of our grandkids, because we don't have any lollies in the cupboard or very minimal, even carby things, so it's pretty boring when they come here, and sometimes they want to eat and drink something. So we just let them have a cup of cream. If they want to drink a cup of cream, they're welcome to it. And so they just pretend it's ice cream, but it's just boring old cream, or they have a piece of butter, a slice of butter, a chunk of cheese, that sort of thing.
Teaspoonful of coconut oil.
Super boring, but I mean...
Or bone broth soup with extra
that's
oil.
true.
Yeah.
I'm always making soup, so even now on a hot day, I've just got the second lot of bone broth for this week. So I've always got super broth bubbling in the background. So I am known for the Oma, the grandma with the weird food. But for me, that's just really, really important. So when Pete and I had our children, we have 6 children, 3 boys and 3 girls, and we used to farmstead, so like back in the 80s and 90s, and we basically grew all our own food as much as we could, and I baked my own bread and made my own yogurt, fermented vegetables. But my mom, she grew up in a city in Holland. She grew up on processed food, and she lived through the Depression, and she never mended her ways. So she absolutely loved lollies, and the way that she showed her love to my children was by rocking up with bags of lollies. Which was just so we differed so much and my mom, by the way, struggled with a lot of pain in her body. She had rheumatoid arthritis, she had a hunchback, she had like all the health challenges under the sun. She suffered from anxiety and depression. She was crippled really, and then of course she died youngish from cancer. I could never teach her anything, but she also didn't respect the way that I wanted to bring up my children. I brought up my kids the opposite, because I saw how much my mom struggled, and I didn't want it for me or my children. So it's hard being the food police, and I'm still the food police. I'm still the bad cop. So, but in spite of Pete and I growing our own food and being like crazy strict according to them, I still knew there were gaps in my children's nutrition, because the soil in Australia is very nutrient poor, probably the most nutrient poorest soil in the world, because it's the oldest continent in the world. And apparently during the ice ages, Australia wasn't covered in ice, so Australia was covered, exposed to wind and rain that drained all the nutrients into the sea, when other continents like Holland, where I come from, had like the rocks and stuff were crushed by ice. And anyway, Holland has a lot of reclaimed land, so it's full of nutrients, right? So in Australia, that's not the case. So you absolutely must supplement with a lot of salt to add minerals back into your food. So
minerals and trace minerals are
they give you they're the spark of life. And in my opinion, coming from Holland, I do find Australians, I love Australians, and they're very laid back.
Well, they are, and you see the Indigenous people, they are very laid back.
But you could say they're almost docile.
Yeah, and it's because of the lack of minerals and trace minerals. It creates the electrical current throughout the body and in and out of cells. And
Peter is definitely way more docile than I am. Because I'm still fresh from Holland, and my children have the benefit of that as well, whereas Peter is like 3rd or 4th generation Australian, so he definitely needs lots of salt, and so does everyone, by the way, right?
But that's pure salt, not sodium chloride, because the chloride part that's in processed salt, that hardens the arteries and gives high blood pressure, and that's the chloride in our water as well will do that. So steer clear of processed salt, but have minimum quarter teaspoon of pure salt. We supply Himalayan for people for every litre of water you drink, and that'll give you adequate minerals and trace minerals.
And it works well. Like, I mean, there's a little bit of controversy sometimes about Himalayan salt, just every now and then, that does the rounds. But a lot of salt these days is contaminated with plastic and with heavy metals and all the rest, whereas Himalayan salt isn't. And, our clients have thanked us for 20 years already. They say, I was already doing everything right, but I was low on salt, and since I started supplementing with Himalayan salt, it's like my energy levels, everything starts working. So believe us on that point.
Well, the farmers, ask any farmer in your district, does he put salt licks out for his animals? And he'll answer you, yes. I have farmers come to me and I ask them that question and they always answer yes. And then my next question is, do you get down and lick them yourself? And they start laughing at me.
I know.
But it's we have to supplement with minerals and trace minerals.
We also have to supplement with healthy gut bacteria. So the immunosymbiotic is great, and it also works well for children. That's because, again, like Peter said, everything that we have in our drinking water, that's in our food, kills our gut bacteria, which is actually our immune system, which is also our first brain is in our gut, and our brain up here is our second brain. We supplement with magnesium, so do our children and grandchildren. And then everyone who knows us knows about the mighty mints as well. So this is a really comprehensive supplement for children.
Multi-nutrient for children.
And it's called chewables because it comes from America. They call it wafers, but they're just actually amazing chewable, like lollies, except these are healthy. The mighty mints have been around, I think, for 60 years or longer, and been thoroughly researched.
They did research with them, and it did improve grades of children, 3 or 4 grades in reading and mathematics.
So, in my opinion, very cheap, $59 for 240 wafers, they call it. So, that's 240 tablets. So, I mean, that will last you a long, long time. And then you can be sure that your child is getting all the nutrients that it needs, except, of course, they need fats as well. So fats are key, aren't they?
Yeah.
Hopefully, that makes it all little bit clearer what you can do for your children. I think all parents need a gold medal, though, because, I see how much love and effort and care and nurturing parents put into their children, and I really, Pete and I, want to support you in that.
Well, Grada and my treatments also, we can defrag the computer a bit and
very much
get rid of some of the stresses that you have through being a parent. Yeah.
That's right. So we do see a lot of children, and also once I know the children, they can come for regular treatments, and then they don't need much work at all. So I can often then just see, if you have 2 or 3 children, I just do them all in one session. So they just get 20 minutes each, one after the other. And as a mom or dad, your stresses flow into your children. So it's even more important for you that you are the best you can be. So our treatments also include allergy testing, defragging the computer, getting rid of all stresses and traumas. And there's just lots of healing on steroids, really.
And it'll include generational traumas passed down that you're probably not even aware of.
That's right. You don't have to tell us anything because we can find it, and we're very, very experienced in doing that. Anyway, so if you know of anyone who's struggling with children, or you have grandchildren or your own children, please share this with people who need to hear it. And there's an article that will be attached to this as well. And come and see us. We're here to help you. Thanks for tuning in,
Have
everyone.
A good week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.